GB3 in 2025 continues its story right here, right now. Welcome to Brands Hatch. We've had lots of testing around this circuit, but it is finally time to go racing. But before we do that, let's head over to GB3 themselves as they talk you through what happened last time out when we went racing at Silverstone Circuit.
The return to the home of British motorsport would see champion leader Alex Ninovich starting from pole position. And Reza Sawuth will be starting alongside on that front row for the first time in his GB3 career. Deegan Fairclough, third in the championship, was dropping backwards after starting from third position. Meanwhile, Noah Lyle, another one of those drivers in championship contention, would not even make the race start. Michael Shin was returning to the championship, however being squeezed off by Will McIntyre, costing him a couple of positions, not only to his teammate but also to Enzo Tarnvanichkul as well. Couple of lockups as they go through the Farm Village loop section. One there from Michael Shin, and a few drivers were struggling in that section to get the cars slowed down. Further up the order though, in the battle for second position would see Reza Sawuth try and keep JBMotorsports Pradel behind, who looked absolutely fantastic at the previous weekend of the championship at the Hungaroring, taking his first victory. Meanwhile, the last thing they all expected was Deegan Fairclough going straight around the outside after his poor start. Later on in the race, there'd be contact between Fairclough and Sawuthan that would unfortunately cause Sawuthan's retirement from the race after losing the front wing and having to head back into pit lane. Patricio Gonzalez with a puncture late on as well. Deegan Fairclough, though, would be trying to hold firm in the fight for the final step on the podium, but his teammate Keanu Alazari in the high-tech TGR team was finding his way back into the mix. The bright pink car of Alazari was straight through and into third position, searching for his first victory of the championship, but moving into yet another podium. His third podium in 4 races. A look to the inside from Fairclough wouldn't be enough to complete the move. Meanwhile, Alex Ninovich, who was victorious in one of the races at Zandvoort, victorious in one of the races at Spa, victorious in one of the races at the Hungaroring, would be victorious here at Silverstone as well. And the championship leader pulls out to a 52-point margin over Patrick Huizenrode and Gianmarco Pradel behind. A brilliant victory and his 4th one of his career. Meanwhile, the Sunday morning race would once again see Alex Ninovich starting from pole position. This time it was Deegan Fairclough alongside. Driver moving up into third position in the championship, Gianmarco Pradel would be starting just from 12th position with a lot of work ahead. Same with the likes of Noah Lyle, who would need to put in a good effort to score some decent points after going pointless in yesterday's race. There was some great battling between Gianmarco Pradel and Will McIntyre as they were trying to find their way past Kai Darianani. And a couple of lockups as well coming from the XL cars that worked their way through Village and the Loop. For Abby Pulling, it was an unfortunate retirement from the race after starting from 14th position, getting caught up in the mid-pack and unfortunately causing a safety car. By the time he got back going again, it was Deegan Fairclough at the front of the field. It was Alex Ninovich trying to take back-to-back victories, and of course his 5th of his championship, Deegan Fairclough battling for his first victory in GB3. He'd have this attempt going down into Brooklands that unfortunately would end in tears, and it would end in a retirement for our championship leader. Deegan Fairclough would be forced to return to pit lane. Meanwhile, what would become the battle for race victory would go straight around the outside as the Rotor mechanics would get to work trying to get Alex Ninovich back out into the race to score any point, knowing it could be important for the championship.
Absolutely, and we are going to take ourselves to live pictures at the moment because we have the cars on the formation lap, the race starting 2 minutes before it was supposed to. So that is not good news at all. So we're going to take ourselves to live pictures at the moment as well. In the commentary box, my name is Omi. Delighted to be with you. Alongside me is Wes and Tom. And Wes, it's going to be a very interesting race as we prepare to get going for GB3. First time you're joining us across this season, bar the opening round at Silverstone.
Yeah, that's right. I'm very glad to be back, and yeah, what a track to do it on. It's this is definitely my favorite of all the British tracks. Just the rolling hills, the undulation, and just some really classic corners. We've also got a really titanic battle up at the front, as we'll I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom, you're also with us as well. We are currently on this formation lap, as we mentioned, race getting underway slightly earlier than expected. And it means that the drivers, they're going to be heading out onto the circuit. But yes, the first time bar the season opener where it's not clashing with Formula 1. So great for this series to get a bit of extra exposure compared to normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a chance for these to make a name for themselves, particularly Alex Ninovich, the highly regarded driver in this field and championship leader. Is he able to continue his form? He picks up one victory last time out at Silverstone, and he's aiming to pick up another win here. But will he be able to do it from pole position with Freddie Slater, the highly regarded Freddie Slater in this field, who could have something to say on that?
Yep, absolutely. We are working with a slight bit of a delay, but we're going to form up on the grid as well. Race, unfortunately, getting underway earlier than we expected, but the cars will line up in position here in GB3. It will be Ninovich alongside Freddie Slater on the front row of the field. We'd usually run you through the grid, but they are lining up at the moment, so you can currently see it on the live timings. But here we go. We're about to get going for GB3 around Silverstone Circuit. Deegan Fairclough became a contender last time out at Silverstone. He'll try and repeat the same trick once again. So we are lined up, we are in position. Bianca Bustamante there in the number 16 also in place. Abby Pulling, by the way, she'll be going from 10th place on the grid, so it will be fascinating to see how she is going to get on. They are lined up. Lucas Flusha, the Spanish driver, looking to also be a contender at the same time. Everyone's in position. The green flag is being waved at the back of screen, and it means we will look to the front. And we are going to look to see Freddie Slater versus Alex Ninovich. Down towards Paddock Hill Bend is underway, and it's a poor start for Freddie Slater, and Deegan Fairclough has already got ahead. It's going to be wheel to wheel between Fairclough and Ninovich. Fairclough around the outside, he can't get there. Ninovich is going to maintain the lead for the moment. Fairclough gets the inside line. Meanwhile, we're still defending with Freddie Slater, who's got a lot of momentum around the outside. Slater trying to fight back and go all the way possibly to the lead, but he's off the road, and Slater has to back out of it. It is still going to be Ninovich with the lead, Wes, but that was such a frenetic race start.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Slater gave it a good old go, trying to get around Ninovich, almost cost him a chance at keeping second place. Now he seems to be under a little bit of pressure from the back. Actually, no, it's Fairclough, who is now under pressure from Patrick Hoytzenroder, who's trying to go around the outside, down Pilgrim's Drop, but can't quite manage it through the right-hander.
Dramatic stuff indeed. So Hoytzenroder thinking about it at the moment up against Fairclough. But Tom, that was quite a dramatic start. It can usually get very tight into the first few corners here at Brands Hatch, and it absolutely did.
Yeah, but the good thing about these cars is that they're able to battle all the way through the corners, even through Juris. We'll see a car go off towards Sterling's. Who is that that's just gone round? That is
Sherwood.
Is it Sherwood that's gone round? Yeah, so Jack Sherwood in the 78 going off the circuit. On the exit of Dingledale, I think it was. But thankfully, he was able to get back on the track as we complete lap one with Alex Ninovich in the lead. Freddie Slater is in second place. It's Deegan Fairclough and Patrick Hoytzenroder in fourth place. A very nice start, but will we see any more battling throughout the field? I think the chances of that are very, very likely.
Absolutely. DRS will be coming into play. 2 DRS zones res around this Brands Hatch circuit. Absolutely ludicrous. We were wondering where they'd place it, and they've managed to get 2 in around this circuit somehow.
Yeah, you love to see it, don't you? But of course, at the same time, it could all go very, very wrong. And as we see on the screen now, DRS has been enabled. I did notice, actually, as the cars formed up on the grid, that the person who was supposed to be in 8th spot, Kanato Lee, was missing from there. I'm not quite sure what happened to him as of yet. Perhaps we'll find out here later.
Yeah, absolutely, we will indeed. Alex Ninovich trying to go on the attack, trying to see whether he can make some progress, that is, further back in the field. Of course, we're in support of the British GT this weekend, as we've been multiple times across this season. 1 race we have today, and then we'll have 2 coming up our way tomorrow as well, so it is all going to be exciting stuff. We'll of course have a reverse grid race, which is going to be seeing, as it usually does, plenty of contenders get themselves in the mix. Here we go, then DRS opens, and now the field closes in. But of course, if you find yourself in a bit of a DRS train, it can mean that you do get stuck. But Ninovich looking like a driver who really wants to go, Pradell looking like a driver really wanting to go on the charge, and he's just ahead of Abby Pulling at the moment, who's gained 2 places. One of course due to Kanato Lee not starting. There is Jack Sherwood diving to the inside, and Jack Sherwood's making a move.
Yeah, Jack Sherwood trying to recover from that excursion we saw earlier in Dingledale, and there is Kanato Lee. Perhaps he started from the pit lane or something, but he's down the back fighting now with Bianca Bustamante for that wooden spoon.
Yep, at the moment, 1.1 seconds out in front, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ninovic has pulled out that 1 second margin crucially over Slater, but we know how brilliant of a driver Slater is in these machines, and he's really closing him in. It looks a lot less than 1 second at the moment, so I think Slater will be within DRS territory to get that rear wing open coming out of clearways to put himself within striking range to go for the lead this time around as they exit out of clearways and onto the Brabham Straight. Has he got the DRS open? I think he has towards Paddock Hill Bend, so that will give him a little bit of straight line speed down there, but it's not as long of a straight as he would have liked to have had. But you could just see the gap has come down to underneath the second. Here's a replay of the start. So a lot of wheel spin there for Ninovic off the line. And the good thing he had was that he had the inside for turn one to hold back Fairclough on the way through. But Slater's start was rather tardy a little bit, but was able to make up for it by sending it round the outside whilst Fairclough and Ninovic were minding their own businesses. And Slater nearly ended up in the lead before he went wide on the exit of Druids.
Yeah, indeed, Wes. And you mentioned, of course, we had the empty grid spot further back. Absolutely the case as well. So no start there for Kanato Lee. The top three now all separated, of course. The top two, though, meanwhile, Slater looking to try remain close. Tan Van Eekel in the Red Bull livery also looking to try go on the attack. He's in 11th. You have Reza Seaworthen in P12 as well. Hugo Schwarzer, by the way, no longer part of this championship. He has moved on to the Le Mans Cup as well. So he's out there racing. So Silverstone was his last round in GB3, and he'll definitely be a driver, Wes. That is absolutely missed from the paddock.
Oh, very much so, yes. He's racing, as you said, Omi, in the Le Mans Cup, who is at Spa this weekend, so might be something to keep an eye out for. It doesn't seem to matter what level of single-seaters you're at. It's just so expensive the whole way down, with only certain drivers being able to sustain an entire season.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Just so we are aware, we're going to catch up now as the races calm down. So we're back to proper live now as well, after we had to go delayed for a little bit due to the race starting a little bit earlier on than we expected. Abby Pulling now is really tucking directly behind Pradell. So the two Rodin Motorsport drivers, Rodin Motorsport with a great team coming into this season, of course. One that is fielding the championship leader at the front of the field. You've had Pradell, who's been a contender. Abby Pulling, we heard from Alice Powell, unfortunately had a bit of a damaged car for a big portion of the year. Now finally being able to actually contend and being able to fight. And she had a really promising start at Silverstone, I remember, as well. And now she's back fighting inside the top 10. So she'll just want to continue to build upon that, Tom, from what we also saw last year in F1 Academy from her.
Yeah, well, this is a different challenge for Abby Pulling to what she was used to last year in F1 Academy. But she has had a fair number of good results throughout the season so far. I mean, her best result had been a 5th place finish in the opening round at Silverstone, which was a better than expected result for her. But I think by the time the rustiness had gone out of the window for some of these drivers, it's become a little bit more of a challenge than desired for Abby. But the good thing is she's inside the points in a really solid 8th position. Can she move herself up the order from here? Bear in mind, we do have the reverse grid race earlier where she could come away with a podium finish if she makes it work.
She can indeed. That will be tomorrow as well. Slater now starting to lose out time to Ninovic as we make our way through around this circuit. Bustamante, unfortunately not with the race that she would have wanted. She's finding herself quite a bit back as well. Gonzalez is the next car up the road. They are 20th and 21st. 21 drivers in total contesting across this Brands Hatch weekend. A circuit, even when you do add in 2 DRS zones, will always be tricky to overtake. But when you can find your way through, when you can make those overtake wears, that is what is really special to these drivers.
Oh, it is very special, yeah, and it's hard fought. This is quite a narrow circuit. It hasn't really been altered that much since it was first built. So it's got a real old school feel to it, and but of course, if there's one thing that does change in motorsport, rather, it is the cars. They get much wider. and that tends to limit the overtaking possibilities on certain old school tracks. But as we say, we've got DRS now, and that can help improve things. And we have already seen a couple of good moves in this race.
We have indeed. The early stages, with all of the field very close together, and now it's about trying to force your rivals into a mistake. It is a challenging circuit where you are really close, centimeters away from the grass at all times, so one little mistake can lead to moments. As we mentioned, the drivers have had lots of testing around this place. GB3 choose to come here quite a few times as well for the test. They had one a few weeks ago, and then they would have had their collective tests as well that took place on Friday. So these drivers do get a lot of practice for weekends like this. We of course only get the races streamed to us, but they also went there for qualifying earlier on, which was a record-breaking qualifying in terms of the lap time. These cars are absolutely rapid, so across the entire weekend so far we've been going faster and faster, and we've been setting new records around this Brands Hatch circuit with GB3.
So
we
are on. Yeah, I was just going to say we're on lap 9 already. This race has gone by quite quickly. As far as this has been concerned, Alex Ninovic leading the way ahead of Slater, and you can just see that Ninovic is able to respond to Slater's charge, and then there's a bit of a gap between Slater and Fairclough. Sorry, I jumped across you, Wes, for a moment, but it feels to me like everyone's just settling in, and this is the closest battle we've got on circuit. And you could just see as they head over the line that we're looking at the battle. I think this is between 15th, 16th, and 17th places, and that was a great move around the outside at Paddock Hill Bend. Oh, and someone's been through the gravel trap there.
Someone has, Wes.
Yeah, so the battle, that's the recovering Kanato Lee trying to make his way up through the field after his pit lane start. Couldn't quite identify who it was who he overtook there, but yeah, as Tom said, very, very good move, and hopefully we'll see who took a trip across the gravel through Paddock Hill Bend. We're about to see something else. This is Lucas Flusha now trying to defend from, I believe that's Nikita Johnson. Yes. Johnson's going to have a look up the inside. This is going to be very, very tight, but he manages to make it. Great stuff.
Great stuff indeed from Nikita Johnson, returning back to the championship, of course, after missing Silverstone because he was out there having some Formula 3 racing as well. So he returns back to this championship and tries to be a contender. Not the easiest qualifying for him earlier on, unfortunately for him. But as Tom has mentioned, this race absolutely starting to fly by at the moment. Jack Sherwood is now also closing in and looking for an opportunity to try and make a move. The driver who was off the road a few moments ago, he's about to head to Paddock Hill Bend down the start-finish straight with the DRS. Meanwhile, you've also got other drivers in the mix. That's Keanu Al-Zahari, and he's trying to put some pressure, Wes, on Reza Siworthan.
Yeah, that's right. Al-Azhari had a 2 out of 3 races at Silverstone last time out were absolutely brilliant for him. His momentum was quashed somewhat in that race 3 when he was forced to retire, but he does seem to be coming back strong now in this race.
Yep, if you are just joining us in GB3 so far this season, as well, I know a lot of MotoGP viewers are also giving this a try right now as well. Then, Will, it is an important stage for these drivers on their road to Formula 1. Some drivers in recent times as well have been going straight over to Formula 3. In John Bennett's case, straight over to Formula 2 as well. So an important part of the ladder as well. And it's a great way to see the stars before they get big. And a lot of these events quite accessible as well. If anyone is to head out there as well and watch some of these events, quite accessible in terms of the drivers and the paddock. And, well, it's just some great racing to enjoy on a weekend. Of course, Formula 1, along with F1 Academy and Porsche Supercup back in a week's time when it comes to the circuit of Zandvoort, which, of course, we tackled earlier on this season, Tom, in GB3.
Well, these drivers have got a lot to learn in this series. I mean, some of these are rookies as well, so that'll be one to look out for. But in terms of the teams as well, I mean, Roden have been the team to beat so far, although High-Tech have had something to say on that in regards to their results. Now, in the team's championship, they take the best results for each team for every race. So we've got a race on the hands in that in between Roden and High-Tech. 2.5 seconds is the gap now between Ninovic and Slater as we enter the final third of this first race of the weekend. It feels to me like everyone's just wanting to just get a finish under the belts and in preparation for race 2 tomorrow. Canardo Lee has made up a few positions after starting from the back. He was meant to start in 8th position, but due to some form of issue, he had to either start from the pit lane or start at the back of the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. And we currently make our way through with more battles continuing to take place around this circuit, which is great to see. Sherwood thinking about it to the inside of Flusha. Flusha's got to hang on for the moment, Wes, but that was a look. That was a look at the moment, and now Sherwood's going to get a chance to make his way through. Let's see whether he can force the error, trying to get to the inside part of the circuit, and Flusha's going to hang on for the moment.
Yeah, Sherwood was very, very brave there, trying to get his nose in. Flush is having absolutely none of it there. Jack Sherwood seems to have lost none of his enthusiasm after his off-track excursion earlier in this race. But now he's got the hill speed car right behind him, that being of Canardo Lee, who is recovering. And probably the two most aggressive drivers in this race so far is Lee and Sherwood. So let's see if we can get some fireworks between these two before the end of the race.
Yeah, let's see. They'll be pushing on. We've got 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go on the clock, by the way, as well. That is how much we've got. We're on lap number 14 out of 18. These races being an important part of the championship, as well as we head into the final stages. And Sherwood's off. Off. Is he going to be able to avoid the barrier? Just about. Gets it stopped in the gravel trap. Pushing on, full attack, Tom, and finding his way to the gravel.
That's a strange way to go into the gravel there. Did he have some form of suspension issue on the way in? Because you don't see drivers go off there all the time, and it's going to be a safety car for sure. And I'm wary of how the time is going to be impacted by that, because it is 25 minutes maximum for a race in GB3. And there goes Jack Sherwood in the goal, not able to reverse out of it. The car is beat. I wonder if he's had some form of suspension issue, Omi, that's caused him to go straight on there.
It definitely could be the case. We'll get a replay of it as well. Vez, what did you make of it? Quite a dramatic moment as we got the safety car out.
Yeah, it was very, very odd. He didn't get contact from anybody. The car just didn't want to turn. So yeah, my mind immediately went to some form of car failure, whether it be suspension or otherwise. Yeah, we're getting a replay of it now. Super slow motion, and yeah, just immediate understeer. There seems to be some gravel. Actually, that might be a brake failure. I think that's brake dust coming out. So yeah, definitely some form of car failure there. Something went bang up at the front right wheel area. But yeah, difficult to say exactly what that was.
Oh well, he'll be back. He'll be back shortly to fight in race 2 and race 3. You could see that he was trying to contend after everything. We've got a safety car out to bunch everything up. 5 minutes 30 seconds on the clock as well. Remember, we don't have +1 lap, so soon as the timer runs out on that lap, then the race is over as well. Sometimes it can be a bit of a look to the timing board and then see where the cars are on the circuit to work out whether that is the final lap. It can come down to the last few seconds sometimes and whether we go round once again. But for the moment, it is Ninovich, Slater, Fairclough, Hoyt-Roda and Will McIntyre. That's your top 5 at the moment. A race that wasn't really a classic. It's not one that we'll remember forever when it comes to the GB3 Championship. But it's what I was going to say earlier on was it is, as I've mentioned, very important when it comes to this championship battle. Ninovich extending his advantage, another race win. He'll be on pole for race 2 tomorrow as well. So Ninovich is really giving himself a chance. To take this season. Of course, you have Slater, who's not done a full campaign due to, of course, racing in Freca, with that being his main series there. So it's given Ninovich the chance, and he stepped forward perfectly, Tom.
Absolutely. And the drivers will be raring to go for a restart. I think we will get a restart, but I don't expect the safety car to be coming in this lap because the recovery vehicle has only just got there to Sherwood's car. So hopefully they'll get that moved within the next couple of minutes, and then we can be in for a 2-lap shootout, essentially, to the checkered flag depending on where we are with time. So it's Ninovic who leads, and it's Slater, Fairclough, Huizenrode in the top 4. And we've got Will McIntyre in 5th position. And yeah, there's nothing too much else to really add to it. I mean, the top 20 do score points in this first race, which means that Bianca Bustamante will get at least a point for finishing there, because Sherwood is out of the race. But I think we could be in for quite an intriguing last couple of laps in this one. Hopefully not too chaotic between now and the end. But Ninovic is going to have a little bit more than a challenge than he so wished it was. And there goes the rollover hoop being used to lift the stricken car of Jack Sherwood. And I hope that the recovery vehicle will be back behind the barriers before the safety car can get the all clear to come in at the end of this lap.
Yeah, hopefully we can get one lap at least of racing. Remember, we are of course looking at laps, and we're also looking at the time, as we've mentioned, Wes. So there's 2 different aspects to look at in terms of whether we will be able to get round once again. But yes, let's hope we are going to be getting this one and getting a 1-lap shootout underway. They're just trying to clear it at the moment.
Yeah, big thank you to all the marshals there for their fast, efficient work, and yeah, they should have that car behind the barriers here in next to no time, and there's still going to be 2 laps left in this race if they can, depending on where the snake is now. The snake's coming down Pilgrim's Drop, so yeah, it's possible that we may get the race going again at the end of this lap.
Yep, we're waiting for a message. I'm expecting one to say that the safety car will be coming in this lap. They're still... So there we go. They're going to get it behind the barrier at that moment. There's the safety car. That's making their way to... Yep, absolutely. We are going to be getting it in. They'll be able to clear that as well. So, Ninovic is going to have the hard task of keeping Slater behind. Let's see how this one's going to go then. Slater has been brilliant when it has come to his restarts. Can he produce some more of it again? How is this one going to play out as we're getting ready to go green flag racing in the GB3 Championship around Brands Hatch? This is the opening race of the weekend, and it's Ninovic, Slater, Fairclough, Huizenrode and McIntyre, our top 5. As we go green flag racing once again, exactly the getaway that Ninovic wanted. Slater looking in his mirrors, Fairclough is there, but the field maintaining formation as we head into Paddock Hill Bend, Wes.
Yeah, that's right. Slater rather oddly seemed to be a little bit asleep that restart. Definitely wasn't anywhere near the back of Alex Ninovic going into turn 1. A couple of battles down the back there. That's Alazari fighting with, I think, Flusha. Oh, and that was one of the... I think that was Flynn Jacks going off wide at Graham Hill Bend. And yeah, cars battling towards the back mostly.
Nikita Johnson trying to make the move now on Seaworthen in the number 10, who has lost the place to Al-Zahari. Doesn't want to lose another position, this time to Johnson, and he's going to stay ahead of Nikita Johnson as well. So, dramatic stuff as they made their way by, but we should be about to head on to now what will be the final lap of the race. There should be enough time to get round with that one, so it should be the final lap that we head on to with around 15 seconds to go on our timing board. But Ninovic doing all he needs to at this moment in time, and if he can survive one more lap around Brands Hatch, he will be on his way to the victory, Tom.
Absolutely, yeah, and he's got the benefit of just maintaining track position there before they get to the DRS zone where Pilgrim's Drop is. In fact, he's left Slater for dead, really, so he'll be fine from here now. Is Ninovic. It's just a matter of can Slater keep hold of second place. There's confirmation of Alasari and Johnson making up positions on that first lap of the restart. But what a drive again from Alex Ninovic, a very mature performance, and a brilliant drive as well from Slater to recover to second place after a really poor getaway at the start. And I think it's going to be on to race 2 tomorrow to see what more we'll get. But it's not over yet. There goes Alasari up the inside. That is on the number 8 machine there, going through Sturtey's corner. And now he's going to be under attack from what looks like...
He will.
DRS there.
Yeah.
Seaworthen thinking about it. So that was Tarn Van Eekele was battling with originally. as well. Now Al Zaheri's just going to stay ahead of Siwurden. Al Zaheri off the racing line, the ideal racing line that you want to be on. So it will be Siwurden directly in behind as we will make our way through some fantastic racing here on this last lap. The drivers know this is the last opportunity to try and improve their positions here at Brands Hatch Circuit. It is going to be Alex Ninovic, championship leader, who will extend his championship lead with victory in Brands Hatch. Freddie Slater will return to the championship in second, and Fairclough will get himself to a podium spot in third, and then it'll be Hoyinson Roda, McIntyre, Yamakoshi, and then Pradell, Pulling, Darianani, and Noah Lyle. That was our top 10 from a race which qualifying, first of all, was very important earlier on, and then the race start was even more critical off the line. Ninovic, it wasn't the best start, but he was able to control things from there. And Wes, that is a brilliant victory from Ninovic, really trying to put one hand on the championship trophy.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, all the momentum seems to be with him. He had an absolutely dominant performance in qualifying. He was able to see off any challenge from Freddie Slater at the start, and yeah, just really pulled away and largely controlled this race. Even when we had a safety car, he was always on top of it from minute one.
He was indeed one of the good wins that he's, of course, had, and he will be really happy with that one. All of these young drivers want to win at a circuit like Brands Hatch, Tom.
A wonderful place to do it up. I mean, Alex Ninovic did it before in the F4 British Championship last year, if I remember rightly, because I was over at Brands Hatch last year to see Ninovic win, and he's done so again here. And I thoroughly hope we see him in Formula 3 next year, because he has got the makings of a solid racing driver. It's just how far can he go in the junior series before we see him, if not in Formula 1, will we see him in the likes of IndyCar or in sports car racing? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, it's another victory in the bag and more points towards the championship.
Yep, Deegan Fairclough having to roll back the car as well in the background after he got out of it and it started reversing backwards. But yeah, the top three fighting themselves out of their machines, and Ninovic P1 once again. The rest of the field make their way through. You of course have the MSV media down there to take all of the pictures as well of our drivers. Freddie Slater there going to his Hill Speed team, who will get to work as well. And the car brought back in one piece and ready for race number 2 and race number 3 as well. Race number 2 will be off our qualifying grid as well, our session 2 that we had earlier on. And then race 3 is where it gets interesting, where it's the reverse grid, and where it gives the opportunity for those drivers who we don't always get to see contending in these positions to be fighting for those race victories and podiums as well.
Yeah, that's right, and of course, from what we saw in this race, with overtaking and even following to a large extent being a very, very difficult thing to do, that reverse grid format is going to come as something of a godsend for these drivers who are slightly lower down, and yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what we got.
Let's head down then and hear from our race winner. He's speaking with John Jackson.
Quite well as well. The start was okay. It made me a little bit vulnerable into 1 and 2, but then from there I managed to pull a gap from Freddie, and then unfortunate safety car at the end brought us all back together, but it still showed that we had the pace to pull away again. So yeah, can't be happy enough with the way the results came.
You really did. That late safety car was something extra for you to think about, having sort of, pulled away a bit of a gap there. So kept your concentration. You managed to get a great start there. You and Freddie Slater were kind of trading fastest laps at the start there, and it was kind of looking one way or another. He was catching you, then he was dropping slightly back, really pushing you all the way, wasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. He was pushing quite hard for the first 5 or 6 laps, and then I noticed he dropped off a little. So yeah, I managed to pull a nice gap, which would have been hard for him to catch, and then from there I just managed it, and yeah, it was pretty good.
Of course, your 5th race win of the season, and you extend your gap at the top of the championship, so that's a third of the job done this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. It's been the best weekend it can be so far, so hopefully we continue that on to tomorrow.
Excellent stuff. We'll let you continue celebrating with the Rodin team.
Thank you.
There we go. Alex Ninovich there, his 5th race win of the season, as I say. Freddie Slater coming in here. Well done, Freddie, back in the GB3 Championship after a little time away, back on the podium as well. I mean, Alex's pace has been fantastic, and you tried to get there to a position to make a move, but I mean, he was just too quick.
Yeah, it's pretty clear where we're losing, and yeah, we need to work on it for tomorrow, definitely, to see if we can get past. And also, the start wasn't great, but I made up for it in T1 and T2, which is the main thing. Then tried to control the race from there. Obviously, we've got to carry some tyres into tomorrow, so I tried to manage as much as I could and look after them the best way possible. So yeah, we'll see tomorrow.
How confident are you that you can look at those areas and work on them overnight?
100%. We've got the right people behind me, the right team, so we're going to have a proper dig into it and see what we can find.
Excellent stuff. Congratulations on another podium here in the GB3 Championship.
Thank you.
There we go, Freddie Slater with Hill Speed, and Deegan Faircliff hasn't been on the podium for a long time. Deegan, thanks for the water, appreciate that. I think you need it more than me, but back on the podium after a long time away. You haven't had a podium since, was it back at Zandvoort?
Yeah. It's been a long while, and it's nice to get back up there. We had strong pace, nearly had it on that one, but yeah, it was pretty much the race over after turn 2. So it was fun while it lasted, and yeah, big thanks to the team. They've been doing an awesome job, and yeah, we'll keep pushing.
What do you do when you've got 2 drivers in front of you that have got such pace like Freddie and Alex have had?
Keep my head screwed on, and nothing silly, and let the time come to us.
Excellent focus. Another podium, and hopefully the first of many to end the season.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you.
Congratulations to Deegan Faircliff there with her high-tech TGR. We'll go to the podium then. Lewis McGlade will talk you through the ceremony.
Cheers, Jonas. And again, a superb performance there for our top 3. And great to hear from Deegan Fairclough, who quite rightly pointed out he's had 2 podiums before this weekend. Both of those were at Zandvoort much earlier on in the season. Of course, we've been to Spa since then, we've been to Hungary since then, we've been back to Silverstone since then. He's had plenty of top 5s in that, and it has boosted his chances in the championship. He now sits 2 points off of Keanu Alazari, who sits in 5th position in the championship at the moment. Will McIntyre has just taken over 4th position in the championship. We'll update you with the points after the highlights, but I will say Alex Ninovich's championship lead is now 53 points. Absolutely rapid at the front of this championship. 5 victories. The only driver who's... Well, there's not many drivers who have more than 1 victory. In fact, you've got Freddie Slater, who's got 3 victories himself, and then it's of course Ninovich's teammate Jean-Marco Pradel, who picked up the race 3 victory back in Silverstone, and so he has 2 victories to his name after the win at the Hungaroring earlier in the season. We do have 9 different winners in the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC in 2025. Very unlikely that we'll be going to set the record for most different winners in a season, which I believe is 13 different race winners back in 2022. The format with only the top 12 being reversed for the final race doesn't tend to lean itself towards more ridiculous results like what we've seen before. But it does mean that we are in position for some excitement in the championship. Deegan Fairclough will then take over 3rd position and come out onto the podium. Of course, Freddie Slater will join on that podium, and then on to the top step for the 5th time this season. Ninovich adds Brands Hatch as a race circuit that he has been victorious at. He won at Zandvoort in race 2 there. He won at race 1 at Spa, race 2 at Hungary, race 1 at Silverstone, and race 1 here at Brands Hatches. John Gavin will come out to give the podiums. I do believe in the pole position cut this season, Alex Ninovich, courtesy of the pole positions that he's had for race 1 and race 2, has already won that. We'll update you a little bit more on the build-up for race 2 on that one, but again, he's been superb this season, has Alex Ninovich, in qualifying and in the race for the race 2 qualifying, which of course was earlier on in the day. He has got another pole position to his name. It does mean that he'll be starting from pole position for 5 consecutive times. A little bit of champagne to be sprayed around. Of course, I think Freddie Slater is going to start the honours on that one. Obviously, get some of the team as well. And same with Alex Ninovich. Deegan Fairclough might get a little bit of the family as well. But superb performance for the top 3. But before we go and look at standings and race results, let's take a look at highlights from the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do indeed. And they all made their way onto the grid. The lights went out, and well, Wes, it was quite a chaotic start as they got going.
Yeah, it certainly was a terrible start from Slater, but as is so often the way with him, he managed to regain all those lost positions within the second corner. So yeah, definitely going to be seeing great stuff from him, and I'm sure it's only a matter of time before we see him in some of the higher up series. Great car control there. Moving further on in the race, we saw Enzo Tarvanitschkel, it was, who that's probably where that mysterious gravel dust came from that we saw earlier. And we saw sort of moves and half moves throughout the rest of the race. And then this very mysterious, maybe suspension failure, possibly brake failure from Jack Sherwood. That brought out the safety car. And then we had a two-lap sprint to the end of the race with Al-Azhari making some moves on Siwarathan, not quite able to do to make it past there. Flynn Jakes as well. Running wide on Graham Hill Bend. But yes, overtaking was very much at a premium. But even with the safety car, it was a dominant win for the Australian Alex Ninovich.
It was indeed, as they make their way. Then now they'll be speaking to their team as well about how to work on the car, as Slater was describing to us earlier on. He finished in second, but it was Ninovich who ended as our winner. Fairclough was in third, then it was Hoytson-Roda, McIntyre, Yamakoshi, Pradell, and pulling the teammates together. And then you had Darianani and Lyle, those two JHR development teammates as well, rounding out our top 10. And then Tarvanitschkel in 11th, and then Al-Zahari, Siwarathan, Johnson, Jacques, Flusha, Lee, and then Gonzalez, and Bianca Bustamante as well. Results, as we always like to remind you, are provisional, and we can always get changes coming in as well post race as well. And Jack Sherwood unfortunately had the retirement. So as you can see with the live timings, the race we've just had a race begin of the Ginetta GT Academy that has started around this Brands Hatch circuit at the moment. And we find ourselves with the standings as well. Now, Lewis McGlade was momentarily talking to you about that a second ago, but it's Ninovich ahead of Hoytson-Roda at the moment. So he's doing quite well, and then it's Pradell in third. So I think it's fair to say quite an interesting top three at the moment, Wes.
Yeah, and from the looks of those standings, Ninovich not only has one hand on the trophy, but the first couple of fingers of the second hand as well. That is a huge, huge lead to have at this relatively late stage.
Oh.
Yeah, of course, with Slater not contesting the majority of these rounds, he can only really hamper the efforts of the other drivers that are trying to catch him up, which I have to say he rather did in this race.
Absolutely. It's just flashed up on our screen that we've got a red flag. There's been a crash in Ginetta GT Academy, so I hope everyone's okay in that. Whatever has just happened a second ago, we've had a red flag, and a red flag has come out as well as that race got going. But yeah, absolutely crazy stuff, absolutely chaotic stuff as we went racing. So Tom, I'd love to get your final thoughts on today's race. It'll all be eyes to race 2 and race 3, where they can utilize the tyres a little bit more, I think it's fair to say.
And a lot of points up for grabs as well, judging by the point systems that we've got in the GB3 Championship. A lot of races still to come in. We've got 8 races left, really, and there's still a good 200 points up for grabs between now and the end of the season at Monza. So I'm looking forward to see who's got something left. Mind you that some drivers may not be able to compete in some rounds due to other racing commitments. But for Alex Ninovich, I wouldn't say he's got one hand on it yet, because there's still a lot of points up for grabs. But he's looking like the man in form at the moment.
He really is. Where's final thoughts from yourself?
Yeah. It's definitely going to be an interesting last couple of events. We've also got, of course, both of the races tomorrow that we can go through. Very interested to see who's going to be on pole position for race 2. Haven't got that information yet, but whoever does is going to have a great chance of snatching a win.
Absolutely. Well, that is it. Well, we've brought you one race here today with GB3. We'll be back to do it again, not just once, but twice tomorrow as well. It's going to be quite a good day of action, and we hope to have your company when GB3 goes racing for the second time this weekend at Brands Hatch. Goodbye.